Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video, I'm in a location that is absolutely littered with mountain bikers. You know, it's going to be kind of dodgy weather out here today, and I wanted to come someplace pretty close where I could get this review done pretty quick, but unfortunately this is a very public place, so if you see me acting a little bit shady, you might know why. But with that said, it is supposed to get pretty nasty out here today. And I have a product with me today that hopefully might help me with a little bit about that. So anyway, I'm excited to show you this product here. This is the B.O.B. Poncho from 2GOSystems. Now this B.O.B. Poncho stands for Breathable Outdoor Basics. This is the version 2. There is a prior version to this that 2GOSystems had created, but this is the version 2. And so basically this is a combination poncho and tarp. It gives you the ability to wear this as a poncho, but also set it up as a tarp. Now, in a prior video, I have reviewed a very similar product. It was a sort of cheaper model. This is a very nice material on this particular one, but the one that I did review in the past was a little bit cheaper, and it actually worked quite well for what it was. And I'm hoping that upgrading a little bit gives me slightly nicer material, a little more durability, and an overall better experience while using this. Now, like other 2GOSystems products, this does have an aluminized interior. So this has a lot of the same properties that some of the other products that 2GOSystems has created has, but you'll see here, this is the stuff sack that it comes in, but it does have an aluminized interior, and same with this poncho. This is a Tyvek material. It's actually a very nice green color, and then ultimately on the inside here you will see that it is aluminized. So 2GOSystems has found a way to aluminize many different materials. If you take a look back at my Reflect 100 review, you'll see that that was actually a nylon material that was aluminized, and then in this case we have a Tyvek material that's aluminized. So definitely some versatility in the different fabrics that can be used depending on the application. The good thing on this poncho is it's a little more durable than a nylon. Granted, the nylon was a ripstop, but you know, you can imagine going walking through trees and brush and stuff like that, and if you're wearing this, you know, obviously the nylon has a potential to snag and tear, but this Tyvek here is a very stout, thick, I mean, it's not overly thick, but a thick and durable material that's going to be very resistant to tearing. So a great choice of materials with this Tyvek, a very interesting green color, and overall my initial impression when opening this up is that it's a high quality product, especially after having had sort of more of a budget style poncho like this. To get something with this quality is definitely a good thing. Now I just want to give you a quick close-up, if I can, of the actual fabric. I mean, you can see that Tyvek has just these like thousands and thousands of little dots. It's very interesting. It has a base color of a green and then these little dots. So I mean, at a distance it certainly has an overall color to it, but then close up, real close up, you'll see that it does actually have just a little bit of a pattern. So kind of unique. This fabric is very interesting. I like the choice. I like the color, and I like the average color, especially when you back up. It's a good quality sort of neutral color. It's a nice color green. It blends in well. You know, you can see it's sort of like an average color across the forest here. I'll set it up at a distance so we can see kind of what this looks like, but from the ability to kind of blend in, it's just a good quality sort of average color green. Now, covering some of these exterior features, you'll see there's a nice size hood with drawstrings that allow you to cinch it down. Here on the collar, you actually have two ways to close it up. You'll see that there is Velcro and also a zipper track. So that's pretty nice. Nice that there are the dual methods to close it, and obviously that means too that if you have zipped up this the neck that the Velcro will help to keep that closed. And if you look real close, you may also notice that the zipper is sort of lined, and the zipper faces towards the inside, so that also helps with the ability to stay dry. It's got that sort of nice weatherproof zipper there. So overall, great attention to detail and very good thought in putting together that enclosure system. Now you may notice on the hood that it does have a little section of Velcro, and also down here on the neck. So the theory being that you would cinch these drawstrings real tight, close this hood all the way down, and then take the hood and flap it over and seal it, so that when you put this into the actual tarp mode and hang it up, you do not have an opening that allows water to get in and underneath the tarp while you're using it for shelter. Now there are grommets along this garment in different areas, and you'll see that these are capable of being used for tie-out points. This is a doubled over section of Tyvek here, so I'm hoping it would be good and stout and not necessarily pull out. What I do like is that these are very small eyelets. Sometimes on larger tarps that have large eyelets, the eyelets are actually weak. By these being a smaller diameter, it's actually going to be stronger and not potentially pull. I have had larger tarps with grommets like this, and ultimately they stretch and pull on the fabric, and then under great tension they can actually pull out, damaging your ability to actually hang the thing up. But I think this looks to be a good quality choice of material, and overall the way it was constructed was wise. And then also on the corners, this has nice tie-outs, and it is really super reinforced here because we have fabric coming in a couple of different directions. So not only is it doubled, but it's actually kind of like quadrupled there because you have the fabric coming from both corners. And this tarp poncho does also come with some like bungee shock cord, little attachments. I have added these to the corners. I put them in all four corners for now. You do not necessarily need these on there, but I already added them on for a quick setup. I'm going to try to get this thing up, and kind of in a hurry because things are looking a little bit sketchy out here. But anyway, definitely a nice quality detail on the corners here. Now, something that could definitely make or break your experience is the quality of the snaps. They chose a very interesting snap, and they work very well. As I click these together, you can hear a good quality positive snap. Now I'm still going to be careful to pull these apart carefully, so I'm not yanking on the fabric as I'm pulling these apart, so I don't want to necessarily stress the material, but you can hear while I do this a good quality positive snap. And then beyond that, these are actually double-sided. So it does give you the ability to connect more than one of these together to increase your shelter size if you wish to do so. It also makes up sort of like the arms and where your arms and limbs would stick through, and then also kind of ties the side together so it's not all flapping around and open. So it's nice that you're able to really like kind of tighten this thing down and then close it down and then connect things together. Now, if you look back at my Reflect 100 review, one of my criticisms was an oversized logo that was much too bright. I can certainly not say that about this particular product. If you look here at the 2GOSystems logo, that to me is about perfect. And it's perfect for two reasons. I firmly agree with the placement of that logo. I like where it is placement-wise. I like where it is size-wise. And in addition, the color here. So it's actually, I believe, a shade of gray, which the Reflect 100 was white on green and really stuck out a lot. This is gray, so maybe taking a little page out of the book here on that Reflect 100, choosing another color that would actually make it tie in a little more and be a little less prominent. But this to me works very well. I like the placement, and I like the size and color. Now looking here, this is the sleeve, and you can see it's a tapered sleeve to kind of cut down on bulk and give it a little more profile. And then you also end up with the snaps holding it together and a couple of grommets. And then you can see the stitching here. And if we take a close look at the stitching on this product, they do a very, very nice job. I mean, it's perfectly stitched, very well done. It looks very nice. And then interestingly, if you see here, just a little variation in the direction of the fabric, so you get a little sort of separation in the pattern there, which again you really only see when you're close up and your eyes kind of average it out and you really don't see it. You know, the camera kind of picks it up because I'm zoomed in there, but when you back off of it, you would never see that. And it's actually very cool. It has almost like a mottled camo sort of pattern to it. If you look at the way the light just kind of reflects off of that, you have some highlights and some shadows, and it's really neat. So I'm digging this fabric. I'm digging the construction. I love the choice of the snaps and the grommets and the way this is put together. So far, this thing is a very, very nice, high quality product. But let's keep looking and see what we got. Now, one of the questions that I have, and I don't really understand this specifically, is if you look at the corner here, you'll notice again that it is like a two-piece construction. So you'll see there is a seam on this corner here. And if you look, I mean, it's on both corners. I wonder about why this had to be two pieces of material down here and have a seam. To me, it looks like this could have been potentially just one piece of material, but for some reason they opted to go with a seam. And then really what you end up with on the underside is it's heat taped. So I guess, I mean, it's just a question that I have. It's not a knock, it's not a pro, it's not a con. I just don't really understand the need for this sort of additional seam here and why this is a two-piece construction. I don't know if the idea was that it would add some sort of like reinforcement. It doesn't necessarily look like that to me because it's not reinforced, it's just simply stitched together, and I can't see how that would be any stronger than just having a single piece of continuous material. So just a note and a question, and maybe if 2GOSystems could weigh in on that, I'll try to get the answer for you. So anyway, just a little observation, that's all. Now as I invert the poncho here, you'll see the aluminized interior. This again is a reasonably like soft feeling aluminum. I've covered the fact that, like for example on the Reflect 100, you may think that when you say aluminized or literally aluminum coated that it might be kind of crinkly, but it's not. It is actually kind of soft to the touch and very pliable, and it moves well with the material, and it does not seem to have any potential to delaminate or anything like that. So overall, that is very nice, and you can see too now that there is a ton of contrast between this and your surroundings. So if you needed to use this for signaling, or so that you can be seen and people know that you're there, it is very helpful. So it's kind of like a dual purpose thing. You obviously have the ability to sort of blend in with that green if you wanted to, or flip it around and really be seen if you had to with that aluminized underside. Now all these seams have been heat taped. It looks to be adhered very well. Overall pretty nice, and not too much in the way of excess. So they've done a very nice job of getting this nice and tight to the seam, and it looks like it was applied very well. So nice job on the seams. If you look here, there's actually a drawstring on the inside, and that's pretty cool. They've fabricated like a sleeve into this. In addition, then they've heat taped it to kind of secure it, but you could actually use this to sort of tie up the excess fabric and keep it a little bit at bay. So that's quite interesting. I did not know this was in here. Very interesting. Great thought, interesting design. I'm curious to see if this works well, but you could obviously use this to sort of tailor fit it around your body and get it to a manageable size. And then the other thing is you can undo it, because for me, I'm going to use this in a backpacking application, and I want to be able to put it over my pack and really keep me overall covered. So pretty cool. I did not know this existed, but definitely a great feature, and I'm really interested to see how this works. Now putting on this poncho, my audio probably just went to hell, but bear with me here. So you can see overall a pretty nice length. It's a good amount of coverage from top to bottom. Covers my arms. There is a good amount of overall coverage on my arms. And then with that hood, gives me the ability to really shed water off my face. Now, even without my hat there, you can see the hood is a beautiful shape, very nicely done. I mean, I can still see perfectly well, yet it adds the right amount of coverage, so that's pretty sweet. And you know, one of the things that I really do like about a poncho versus a jacket is the fact that it's bigger than you, and the water actually sheds off and drips outside of like your body. So for example, a jacket is generally tight to your pants and there's a cuff and it rides around your pants. Well, in that case, your pants are getting wet, and unless you had rain pants, obviously that doesn't add any additional value and you're still kind of getting wet. But with a poncho, you can really stay almost completely dry. I mean, granted, there's more fabric to deal with, but it definitely does a good job of shedding water completely away from your body. And a lot of times what I'll do is just kind of hunker down if I have to, and maybe pull in the sleeves and just sort of get myself completely covered up. And you know, I've spent a lot of time in the rain, even with that cheaper poncho I was talking about, just kind of sitting there like this, and I have no problem at all. Works very well. So pretty interesting, and you know, I am very happy with the overall fit on this. I feel like it's a nice shape, nice size, and definitely a great quality. So overall, my impressions are good. Now, another one of the main reasons why I like a poncho is now I don't necessarily need to carry both a jacket and a pack cover. Now, granted, this pack is smaller than my typical backpacking backpack, but you'll get the idea. And I will probably fill out one of my backpacking packs just to see how well this works, but this will give us an idea. So anyway, now I'll slide this on. And try to get this down over the pack to the best of my ability, which is not terribly difficult. And you can see there at this point, I am totally protected, and so is my pack. So that's another thing that's nice, is with the pack on, it again just continues to sort of shed this water further and further away. And you'll see the length on this poncho here is pretty suitable for that. So overall, this is working out pretty well. It's comfortable, feels good, protects both me and my bag. So what you might notice here is that I'm in kind of like a, I don't know if you'd call it like a grove of pines or something like that. But anyway, so there's not a lot of branches here, which is nice if I'm trying to set this up as a tarp. And you know, I have a lot of options. So let's just say I was sort of out on a hike and I came through here and I had to set this thing up in a hurry. I think this would give me a pretty good opportunity to do so. Now, I could see that being the opposite if you were in sort of a different type of forested area, and you were really trying to get this thing set up in a hurry and you had a ton of branches to contend with, or if it was just a difficult situation and if you were like really getting rained on and you kind of wanted to set yourself up with a shelter. I wonder what this would overall be like, but I'm going to make an attempt at setting this up kind of while I'm wearing it to see if I can overall stay dry. Well, okay, so what am I going to do? Take this off completely and set it up like a tarp? Well, then obviously I'm going to get soaked. So my mind tells me I really want to set this up while I'm wearing it. And I know that sounds kind of funny, but I don't know, can you do that so that you're kind of wearing it and getting it like mostly strung out to the point where you're ready to kind of duck out of the thing and then sort of button it up real quick and hopefully not get too soaked? So I don't know, I'm gonna make an attempt at that and see how it goes. And you know, like I said, here I don't have a lot of branches to contend with, and that might be different in a different situation. But anyway, let's give this thing a go. So I'm gonna kind of talk to you while I work here. And I realize I'm having a little bit of a problem with my microphone, so I'm sorry about the audio. I'll have to figure that out and work on it. But see, here's part of the thing. Now, the first thing I know is that I'm gonna need some tie-outs for this. I mean, yeah, I have these bungee cords here that are on the ends, and now you'll see kind of why I left them connected, thinking that, you know, if I really wanted to set this up in a hurry, I kind of want this to already be connected. So now I need tie-outs to go to these points. Well, you know, am I digging into my pack and pulling them out? Maybe. So I could probably slide my pack off and kind of get these out of there. Maybe I have them located in a good, convenient location. The other idea I had, and where you do have this kind of additional material on the bottom corner, maybe a little pocket could be sewn into here, and these could be stuffed in the corners and kind of rolled in, and then when you need them, you can pull them out and they're already attached. So see, these aren't attached yet, and now I need to kind of fumble around. So pretending it's really pouring on me, I'm sitting here trying to work, try to get these sort of straightened out. And once I'm ready to go, I have to figure out where I'm gonna go, what trees I'm gonna go to and whatnot. So anyway, a little bit of thought process has to go into this up front now. You know, I'm just gonna pick what looks to be like, you know, maybe the best square of trees and kind of get this thing started there. So, you know, I'll get my first one kind of up and running here, looped around and close, and then I'll just leave it while I do the next one. So, okay, kind of got that one up. Now, this is snapped up the side. I'm gonna carefully undo these snaps. Now, this is the key, is can I set this up while I'm still kind of under this thing? So, that's what I'm gonna attempt. So, let's get these snaps undone. Okay, so now it's ready to go. I'm gonna pick my first corner. I'm gonna start tying it out. So I'm basically just gonna use this bungee, and then I have these little figure 9s on here, which I've showed you in prior videos. So anyway, I'm just gonna kind of go for the best, run this through. These figure 9s work better when they're under tension, but I gotta just get it started. So I'm just gonna connect my first one. That's the first corner. Come over here, go with this. It's got like way too much slack on it, so that's going to be a little bit of a challenge to me, but I gotta go with it. Okay, so go like this. All right, so now I kind of got this thing started. Maybe I'll spin around, duck out of it. So still trying to stay mostly dry here. I'm gonna duck out of it. I'm gonna slide over this way, start working on tying this one up. It's trying to stay dry. Still trying to stay under it. Come over to my last one. I'm doing all right so far. I've managed to stay pretty much underneath this thing, so that's not bad. And I'm still gonna just make a little knot here. Okay. Now, so far, so good. I gotta zip up this hood because it's been pouring in this hood, and now I gotta cinch down on these drawstrings here and tighten them up. So I'm gonna cinch these down. Now I'm starting to get a little weather tight here, and I know on top there's that piece of Velcro. So this is the one spot where I'm a little bit vulnerable, but again, now I'll duck underneath. That's not too bad. I mean, it's half-assed, but so far I'm reasonably staying dry. And if I want, maybe at this point, I can kind of just minimize my damage here and try to tighten up on this thing just a little bit. So, you know, at this point, if I want, I can kind of make some adjustments, try and tighten up on this thing, get it a little more tensioned. And I mean, I'm probably getting just a little bit wet here, but for the most part, I'm primarily staying dry. So, I mean, my arms would be getting wet and maybe a little bit on my legs. I'm taking a little bit longer than I wanted, but bam. All right, and I'm pretty good. So this actually, even at that, has a place where the water's gonna shed off and come down. I got a nice little pitch on this thing. I mean, that was pretty cool. I mean, I really see that if I had to, I could have probably set this thing up completely while I was wearing it and sort of ducked out of it. And hopefully this hood, you'll see too that by me running it down this way, I got the hood enclosure facing downstream so that the water can't actually pool up and come in. And if you revisit my B Grit budget option tarp poncho, you'll see that that's one of the problems that I had, was that I actually set it up so that the opening of the hood was downstream and it was ponding and pooling and pouring down. But in this case, this has actually worked out pretty nice. And now just taking a look at how that hood connects, you can see here, let me undo that Velcro, that you do sort of cinch that down. I could probably get it tighter, but you know, like I said, I did that in a pinch, trying to stay dry. Then you end up with the sort of dual zipper and Velcro there. So I got that all the way closed up. And then you end up with this Velcro piece on the hood that comes down and sort of ties right into place there. So anyway, overall just kind of keeps it at bay, and hopefully the water wouldn't get in there. And as I mentioned too, if you look at the slope here, sort of downstream, hopefully as the water comes by, it'll just kind of run past this. And I'd say you have to sort of, you know, maintain a certain pitch to allow the water to continue to roll by and not pond and pool in the middle and then just drain off the end. So I think it's important to set this up with a little bit of thought, kind of realizing what your goals and objectives are and what the characteristics of this overall is. But I think ultimately you could pretty much get this thing to shed the water where you need it and hopefully keep you nice and dry. Now obviously I could do a better job trying to get this tensioned. I mean, the tie outs I sort of half-assed. I didn't do them quite as well as I could have, but again, you know, with the idea being I was trying to set this up in a hurry and really get me a place where I could hunker down. Now the other thing I could do is maybe set this up a little bit lower. That way any sort of, you know, side wind blown rain wouldn't be getting me. But, you know, this does have sort of, as these arms were folded out, a couple of additional tie out points. So if you want, you could really set this up in a different capacity. What I like is that there is a center ridgeline style grommet here. So you could actually really set this up with a ridgeline if you wanted, you know, and like run it from the middle all the way to the middle, and then take your corners and then tie or stake those out. And then you have the ability to kind of add a little extra protection here with these flaps. So it's a cool shape from not only a poncho design, but also from a tarp design. I mean, this thing is actually quite brilliant, to be honest with you. I really like it. This is one of my new favorite pieces of gear. Totally cool. And from an overall sort of subdued, or I'd say camo blend-in capability, not too bad overall. It's not incredibly loud, sort of like a mid-tone in there, and doesn't overly catch your attention, so that's definitely, in my opinion, a plus. You know, I think a little feature, and I don't know what it would take to do it, or if it would sort of take away from the overall waterproof ability, but I wouldn't think so, is to add a little pocket in this corner here, just big enough to hold a tie out, and that way you could have it all strung out on this bungee, and then sort of carefully wrapped up and looped up and tucked in that pocket. And maybe even the pocket would have a small piece of Velcro to hold it shut. And you would have a completely self-sustained shelter without needing to go to any additional tie-outs, or, you know, dig through your bag or pull things out of your pocket. It would be completely self-contained, and you could set this thing up in a pinch. So, I mean, that was overall a really cool test. I am totally digging this thing. Very interesting, and nice job, 2GOSystems. This is cool. So all right guys, there you have it. A quick look at the 2GOSystems B.O.B. Breathable Outdoor Basics Poncho Tarp version 2. Like I said, 2 thumbs up. This thing is great, very innovative, and just an overall excellent product. And I'm absolutely adding this to my top gear list, backpacking gear, and this thing's going to be with me all the time. So thanks again, Brian. Nice job, man. So all right guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.